Once again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Math 9 class today. Today, we're going to have another chapter. We're done with the quadrilaterals, and this time, let's have chapter 6. Chapter 6 is about similarity, similar. Now, what do you mean by similar? If you say similar, example, there's a small triangle and a big triangle. If you say similar, they don't exactly have the same size. The first requirement is they must have the same shape. So if both are triangles, they can be similar. Second, their side measurements or their measurements must be proportional. So it's not okay that you have a triangle like this one and the other looks like a big but a right triangle. If both are right triangles, similar triangles are both right, but one is bigger while one is a smaller right triangle. That's why let's start chapter 6 with proportion. I know you have your proportion topic in elementary. You also have it in grade 7, and let's talk more about it in this class. To start with, let's recite today's memory verse, and it's found in Leviticus 25, verse 16. It says, "You are to increase its price in proportion to a greater amount of years, and decrease its price in proportion to a lesser amount of years, because what he is selling to you is a number of harvests." We'll talk about blessings, and let's talk about God's proportion. You need to read Malachi 3, verse 10, and illustrate God's proportion in all things that we receive. End it by singing the song, "There Shall Be Showers of Blessing." And your main question, what promise does the song tell us in relation to God's proportion? At the end of today's class, you'll be able to describe proportion, and the second is apply the fundamental theorem of proportionality to solve problems involving proportions. Let's start with our venture activity. What is your strategy? You need to be very careful with this because this chapter only has 4 lessons. And at the end of this, we'll have a performance task. You have an option actually whether to do performance task 1 or 2. The other performance task is on drawing, like this one. Blow up my pet, please. What strategy will you use to enlarge or reduce the size of the original rabbit in this drawing? Like example, this is the sample rabbit. And I'll ask you to make it 2 times bigger or half smaller. What will be your strategy? Keep thinking because you'll be doing that task. Now, let me share with you the Matryoshka Russian dolls. Actually, these Matryoshka Russian dolls sometimes will just be in one big. They are all placed in this big container. But if you get them from the container, you'll see that you will have 8 small similar wooden dolls. The Matryoshka Russian dolls are sets of wooden dolls that are decreasing in size. Each doll looks the same as the others, but differs only in size. So we say that these Russian dolls are similar. They have the same shape, same design, and their measurement is only proportional. When 2 objects have the same features but differ in size, we call them similar. Now, how do we define ratio and proportion? Ratio is telling us the relationship of 2 quantities. Example, A and B. We can write it in fraction, A over B, where B should not be equal to 0. Another way to write a ratio is this one. How do we read it? You can say the ratio of A and B. That's one way. Another way is A is to B. A is to B. If we say proportion, we are talking about the equality between two ratios. Example, A over B is equal to X over Y. Be sure that our denominators are not equal to 0 so that it won't be undefined. Or here's another way to write it. A is to B is equal to X is to Y. The ones at the center near the equal sign, we call them means. And the ones outside, we call them extremes. A, B, X, and Y are all called terms of the proportion. Now, let's have few properties in the fundamental principle of proportion. Property number 1, the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. Example, this is A and Y. So we say A times Y is equal to B times X. Or here's another way. A over B equals X over Y. We do cross multiplication. So this one, A times Y is equal to B times X. Let's have an example. I will solve the first one and you will help me in doing the next ones. Okay? Ready? Let us cross multiply. 5 times X is 5X. 6 times 60 is 360. Divide all by 5. So X is equal to, what's the answer? 360 divided by 5. That's 72. 35, 52. So X is equal to 72. Okay? Now let's go to number 2. 16 over 20 is equal to 8 over X plus 1. Let me pause the recording and I'll wait for your answers in the chat box. Okay, now let me start answering. Tatiana said X is equal to 9. Very good. Let's start with cross multiplication. 16 times X plus 1 is equal to 8 times 20. So we will distribute it. That's 16X plus 16 is equal to 160. So 16X will transfer to the other side. 160 minus 16. 16X is equal to 144 divided by 16. So X is equal to 9. Very good, Tatiana. You know what? One way to check it is to simplify. Like in number 1, 5 over X is equal to 60 over 72. You can reduce 60 over 72. So you divide it both by 2. 30 over 36, right? You can still reduce it. Divide by 2, 15 over 18. Reduce it. Divide by 3, 5 over 6. They are now the same with the other side. The same with the number 2. 16 over 20 equals 8 over 9 plus 1. 10. Reduce 16 over 20. It is 8 over 10, right? So they are just the same. Any questions? Let's go to the next one. Ready? There. Number 3. Let's start with number 3. Ready? Start solving. And some of you can start solving number 4. It's easy. Remember the first step? Cross multiply. So x times x plus 6. The other is x plus 4 times x minus 3. Wait first, Baba. Let us now multiply them. X squared plus 6x. The other side. X squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 12. So we have x squared plus x minus 12. The left, x squared plus 6x. Let us now place all the x on the other side. So x squared transpose minus x squared plus 6x transpose minus x equals negative 12. There. So we have 5x equals negative 12. Divide all by 5. Our x is negative 12 over 5. Let me see. Oh, very good. Gaya got the correct answer. Negative 12 over 5. Let's go to number 4. Anyone has the answer to number 4? Number 4. Very good. That's plus and minus square root of 12. But Tatiana, remember in a radical lesson, you can still simplify square root of 12. Ready?
By 3.
By 3? What's the answer?
X equals 3. X equals 3.
So you have x times x. That's x squared. The other side is 2 times 6. That's 12. So square root of both sides. Tatiana said it's plus and minus square root of 12. But you can still simplify this one. How do we simplify 12? Square root of 12. Remember, 12 is 4 times 3. So square root of 4 is 2 square root of 3. Do not forget your plus and minus. Let's go to the next one. Ready? Number 5. Any answers for number 5? Very good. Good, Ali. We have Tatiana. They answered 1. Very good. That's the correct answer. Let's solve it. Cross multiply 12x. Cross multiply 6 times 2. So 12x equals 12. Divide both by 12. X equals 1. Practically, just look at this one. 2 over 12 is 1/6. What's missing? 1. Okay, let me first